chosen one, stop what you are doing right now and receive what this moment is carrying for you. I need you to look at yourself, truly look. Whether that means stepping to your mirror or simply pausing and seeing yourself in your mind's eye, because the person you are gazing at today is not the same person you were when this season began. Something has grown in you that wasn't there before. Something has shifted so deeply beneath the surface that the old version of you would barely recognize the one standing here now. And that is not a loss. That is the most profound victory you have ever walked through. A quiet awakening has been happening inside you in the sacred hours when no one was watching. In the silences between the noise of life, in the moments when you thought nothing was changing, and everything was actually being rearranged at a level your natural eyes could not see. This transformation is not loud. It is not performing for an audience. It is not asking for validation or explanation. It is simply real, deeply rooted, and absolutely irreversible. What has grown in you cannot be ungrown. What has awakened in you will not go back to sleep. I need you to stay with me all the way to the end of this video, because every section of what we are about to walk through together is a piece of your confirmation. A mirror for what your spirit has already been sensing, but perhaps hasn't had the language to name. You are not here by accident. You are here because something in you knew it was time. Every heartbreak you carried in silence, every season of loneliness that felt like it would never lift, every night you wondered if anything you were doing actually mattered, none of it was wasted. I need you to receive that not as a comfortable phrase, but as a spiritual truth. Your pain was never random. The silence that surrounded certain chapters of your life was not emptiness. It was a workshop. It was the space where the deepest and most necessary work was being done on the interior of who you are. The kind of work that cannot happen in noise, cannot happen in crowd approval, and cannot happen while you are comfortable and distracted. Every delay you experienced, every door that didn't open when you expected it to, every prayer that seemed to go unanswered, every moment where the timeline felt impossibly slow was not God ignoring you. It was preparation. Preparation so thorough and so specific that what is coming toward you now will find someone fully equipped to receive it, to steward it, and to carry it without being destroyed by it. You are being forged, not forgotten. You are being shaped by a divine intention that saw the end from the very beginning and never, not for a single moment, lost sight of you. Even in your loneliest hours, you were never actually alone. Let this land in the deepest part of you. God saw every tear you cried in a room by yourself. Every prayer you released into the dark when you weren't sure anything was listening. Every moment of injustice that no one around you acknowledged. Every sacrifice you made that went unrecognized. Every time you kept going when the most human, understandable thing to do would have been to stop. The world did not see the war you were fighting. The people in your life may not have understood the weight of what you were carrying, or the magnitude of what you were overcoming. But heaven witnessed every single moment of it. God saw the eternal battle happening inside you and around you, and the testimony being written through your survival is one that will not be silenced. And now hear this. Victory is not a distant hope. It is closer to you in this moment than it has ever been. Visibility is coming. Recognition is being prepared for what has been done in secret. The divine decree over your life was never revoked. You were chosen before you understood what that meant. Set apart before the world had a category for who you are and marked for. a glory that your present circumstances could not permanently contain. That decree stands. It has always stood. You have probably already noticed it, even if you haven't fully named it yet. Something feels different. Life carries a different weight now, or more accurately, less weight. The environments you move through, both internal and external, have shifted in a way that is subtle but undeniable. The emotional storms that used to arrive without warning and stay for weeks are beginning to clear. The horizon of your life, which for so long felt obscured by fog and confusion, is starting to reveal something, a shape, a direction, a promise you can almost make out in the distance. I want you to trust what you are feeling. This is not wishful thinking. This is not you projecting hope onto an unchanged situation. The change is real. It is measurable in your spirit, and it is only going to become more evident as time moves forward. The heaviness that used to attach itself to your mornings, the confusion that used to cloud your decision-making, the doubt that used to sit like a permanent resident in the back of your mind, they have lost their access to you. They no longer have the keys to your interior. You changed the locks, whether you did it consciously or not, and the life that is beginning to emerge on the other side of that shift is one your former self was. Always meant to arrive at. What you have survived deserves to be acknowledged, not for the sake of staying in the story, but because the weight of what you endured and the grace with which you came through it reveals something extraordinary about the nature of who you are. You rebuilt yourself from ruins that most people never recover from. You healed wounds you never spoke out loud to anyone. Wounds you carried with so much quiet dignity that the world around you had no idea how much you were holding together. On the inside, while still showing up, still moving forward, still trying. You rose in seasons of silence when there was no applause, no audience, and no immediate sign that it was working. You came back from things, losses, betrayals, collapses, heartbreaks that genuinely could have taken you out. And the fact that you are here receiving this word is itself a testimony. But I want to be precise about something. What you have walked through is not simply self-improvement. People improve habits and routines. What has happened to you is divine. Evolution, a transformation that goes all the way down to the roots of your being. The strength you carry now is not borrowed. The wisdom you hold now is not theoretical. The spiritual maturity you have arrived at cannot be taken from you because it was earned in the fire, and fire-tested things do not break the same way again. There is something that happens when a person reaches this level of transformation. A moment where the old instinct to prove yourself, to chase what was taken from you, or to make sure the people who doubted you witness your rise, begins to lose its pull. And that shift is actually one of the greatest signs of your elevation. You no longer need to explain yourself to rooms that were never meant to understand you. You no longer need to chase the validation of people who couldn't see your value when it wasn't yet visible in the way the world typically measures things. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone because you have stopped needing proof. Yourself, others will witness what is happening in your life. And that system is being rewired. The internal landscape of your life is moving from chaos to clarity, from hypervigilance to genuine rest, from the constant hum of anxiety to something that feels, perhaps for the first time in a very long time, like actual safety. The war that was being fought inside your own mind, the overthinking, the spiraling, the endless replaying of past moments and catastrophizing of future ones, that war is quieting. You are beginning to respond to life rather than react to it. And if you understand the difference between those two things, you understand just how significant that shift truly is. Reacting comes from wounding. Responding comes from wholeness. The peace that is settling into your interior is not fragile or conditional. It does not depend on everything going right, or everyone behaving well, or circumstances cooperating with your comfort. It is a peace that holds even in the middle of movement, even in the middle of uncertainty and the torment that used to live in the deepest rooms of your inner life. It has left no forting address. The chosen one who is emerging from this season does not need to fight for a seat at any table. You are the table. That is not arrogance. That is the posture of someone who has done the work, survived the fire, and arrived at the place where they no longer need external permission to occupy the fullness of who they are. Your yes carries a weight it did not carry before. Your decisions carry a momentum that moves things. Your presence shifts the energy of the spaces you enter, not because you are performing or demanding to be recognized, but because you are genuinely aligned with your purpose in a way that simply cannot be hidden. The days of performing your worth for audiences who were never truly qualified to assess it are behind you. The days of seeking validation from people who were themselves operating from their own wounding and limitation are finished. You walk now with a knowing, a deep interior certainty about who you are and whose you are, and that knowing does not require a crowd to confirm it. You have also learned something invaluable in this season. Not everyone deserves access to the new you. Sacred boundaries are not walls of fear. They're the wisdom of a person who understands that some things, some conversations, some environments, some relationships are simply incompatible with the frequency at which you are now operating. Something you may have noticed in this season is that certain connections feel different, more distant, more strained, perhaps even quietly dissolved. And if you have been grieving that or wondering what it means about you, I want to offer you a reframe. Your energy has changed. The frequency at which your spirit is now operating is genuinely not digestible to every person who was once comfortable in your presence. That is not a judgment of them. It is simply an acknowledgement that some relationships were formed around your wounding. They were built in a season of pain, connected by shared struggle or mutual survival. And now that you are healing, the architecture of those connections no longer has the same foundation to stand on. Some of those friendships were assigned to your wounds. They were never designed to walk with your wonders. And releasing them without drama, without bitterness, without lengthy explanation is actually an act of both love and wisdom. You are making space. You are creating room in your life for what matches, where you are going rather than mourning what was built around where you have been. Your circle may be smaller in this new season, and that is not a sign of loneliness. It is a sign of refinement. Your spirit is louder now than any crowd you have ever stood in the middle of. Something extraordinary begins to happen when a person reaches true alignment and you are beginning to taste it. The striving that used to define how you moved through life, the pushing and hustling and white-knuckling your way toward things that always seemed just out of reach. That exhausting rhythm is being replaced by something that feels almost unfamiliar at first. Ease. You are not attracting what you want anymore. You are attracting what you have become. And what you have become is someone that favor finds naturally. That opportunity recognizes readily. That miracles do not have to be delayed for because you are now ready to receive them. When a person is truly prepared, favor does not skip over them. When the interior work has been done with sincerity and depth, blessings do not require relentless Chasten, they arrive because the person has become the kind of soil in which they can actually take root and grow. Doors are beginning to open in your life that are not opening because of how hard you are pushing, but because of how clearly you are aligned. Opportunities are beginning to surface that match not the old version of what you were asking for from a place of lack, but the new version of what you are capable of stewarding from a place of wholeness. Life is now responding to your internal clarity, and that response is only going to grow more visible. Chosen one, I want to give you something in this moment that perhaps no one has offered you in a very long time. Permission. Permission to rest. Permission to enjoy what is here without waiting for the other shoe to drop. Permission to sit in the quieter, more purposeful rhythm of this new season without mistaking the stillness for stagnation. Your calendar may be quieter than it used to be, and your social landscape may look different than it once did, but your sense of purpose has never been clearer. You have stopped craving the noise of distraction, the constant activity, the endless scrolling, the manufactured busyness that used to keep you from having to sit with yourself. And you have begun craving something deeper, the actual unfolding of your destiny. The wounds that defined so many of your earlier seasons are not just healing. They are becoming wells, sources of depth, places from which wisdom and empathy and genuine strength will flow for the people you are assigned to serve. The deserts you walked through, the dry and desolate seasons where nothing seemed to grow and nothing seemed to move, are becoming gardens. And you are allowed to enjoy that. You are allowed to receive what is arriving without the old anxiety that it will be taken away. The fear of losing what you have not yet fully received is a remnant of the old you. Let it go. You are safe here. Chosen one, as we close this time together, I want to leave you with this final word. The ground that is shifting beneath your feet right now, the uncertainty you may still be feeling in certain areas of your life, the sense that things are moving and reorganizing in ways you don't fully understand yet. That is not instability. That is a new foundation forming underneath you. That is the sound of something permanent being laid where something temporary once stood. You are no longer confined by the identity that other people assign to you. The ceiling that their limited perspective placed over your potential, or the narrative that your past wrote about what you are capable of. That confinement is over. The right doors are being summoned to meet who you have become. The right voices, the people who are meant to collaborate with your purpose, speak into your vision, and walk alongside your next chapter, are being drawn toward the frequency you are now carrying. The right opportunities are aligning themselves not to who you were, but to who you have had the courage and the faithfulness to become. So, keep going. Keep becoming. Do not stop here. Do not shrink back. And do not mistake the magnitude of what is happening in you for something ordinary. This is not a phase. This is not a mood or a moment of temporary motivation. This is a revelation of who you always were, of what was always possible, and of what has always been waiting on the other side of your full emergence. The chosen one has arrived.